What's up? See how we're looking here. It says we are live. Hopefully the audio is okay. We don't know if it is or not. We'll find out. All right. So SEO 2020. Thank God it's over. No, just kidding. There's been a lot of changes going on. It was an article out for Search Engine Watch, what to expect from SEO in 2021. And I wanted to kind of share with you some of their insights and then add a little bit of 2 cents into that. First of all, their 30-second summary, fast pace of technology advances and progresses in SEO sector isn't slowing down, and you should expect major changes and updates in 2021, of course. Google has already announced 2 algorithm updates slated for March and May of 2021. And then there are various trends for SEO 2020, like user experience for SEO and featured snippets, which appear to become more prominent in the up and coming year. They've got a couple things going on in here in terms of things that I think have already happened, at least when I log in, they have on our accounts anyway. But they talk about, well, first of all, SEO is not going away. SEO is really about, I'm surprised not talking more about video actually, but SEO itself is about identifying the subject matter that you want to be able to talk about and the guest search, right? So you basically want to connect those dots into the equation. So you really should start, comes back to your customer, right? The who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who are we trying to target? What content is he or she interested in? What are the hurdles and / opportunities that your product or service brings that basically your competitors don't do, right? Or perceived anyway. And then being able to have them execute on that, right? With certain goals. So think about that end result, that guest, right? Coming into your site or through the funnel. It all comes back to that. But some of the technicals here are highlighted pretty decent. If you haven't logged in or done searches on speed testing, so take your site, go do a Google search for Google speed test. It's the first one. It's page something or other. Page speed, I think, is what it is. But then plop that in there. There's a whole bunch of really awesome things that you're going to learn about speed in terms of your website. They've added in here in terms of core web vitals. Check those out if you haven't checked them out. Things like first input delay, largest contentful paint. It's a hard word to say. And the cumulative layout shift. Those are the kind of things that it breaks it out actually in a nice little chart format where you can actually then click the little caret drop down and it'll show you all the technicals that are associated with that. If you have a WordPress website, you should be doing this. If you don't have a WordPress website, you should still be doing this. WordPress does make it a little bit easier. We have a lot of clients that are on WordPress websites, things like WP Rocket, or plugins that we go ahead and use on a regular basis, along with Imagify, which allow you to get your images down in terms of that, really boosting speed. Right, just by simple things like that will really make a big difference in 2021 for your rankings. We have a client that is there on a .NET Nuke website from 6 years ago, maybe. And we just see month over month. We've got the same great content. We focus on it, but he will continue to lose rankings on organic because his speed just isn't what it should be. And the .NET Nuke is really the big hurdle in terms of that stuff. So definitely want to make sure that you're thinking about that. They've also talked about some of the things that we've seen in terms of AMP already, or rolling out mobile first. So in this article, it says, I'll just read it actually. It says, get featured in top stories without AMP. AMP is accelerated mobile pages, I think is what it is. There are actually downloads, again, for your WordPress website that were helpful many moons ago, and might still be, according to this article anyway, to help you get that visibility that you want in terms of organic. It says, another purpose of the introduction of the new page experience ranking framework is to make a non-AMP content eligible to appear in the top stories features for mobile phones. So that's that area at the very top. A lot of times it answers a question, um, and it's usually in gray and kind of highlighted there a little bit. Sorry, getting over a sinus infection. It's one of the main ways website traffic is driven to their content from mobile. So it could be a significant change that would disrupt the rankings of many websites on mobile. This change will also roll out in May of 2021. Again, I'm not so sure that it already hasn't been rolled out for several different things. So I guess that's your number one. Yeah, page experience, absolutely huge. So in terms of loading, in terms of guests coming through the website, you need to be looking at that, especially as it relates to paid initiatives. Identify which of your top 5 or 6 keywords are driving traffic. And then again, think about your goals, right? So if I know that these top 5 keywords are driving traffic, the goal of that, let's say take your number one, what do I want that guest to do, right? What do I know about that guest as they come into the website? What are they interested in achieving, right? And how can I help them do that? Basically tracking with call to actions and things like that. So really important to think about. You don't have to do everything, but think about the greatest things that are going to add the greatest value to your business, right? Part of that, and maybe some of you aren't doing AdWords already, there is some neat data in Google Search Console for this stuff in terms of which keywords are there and impressions and things like that. Look, Google is using current methodologies, right? Current site traffic, guest traffic, all of that. The best way to kind of hit the reset button on this stuff is to go ahead and deploy an AdWords, build out an AdWords campaign. What are the words that you want to rank for? Use phrase match key terms or exact match key terms in your advertising, right? So that you know what people are typing in the search box. Okay, make your ads interesting. But then basically at the end of, let's say, a week or so, you're going to know which keywords people are using to find your stuff, right? And then basically, if you know that, 80% of traffic is going to come from only a handful of keywords, okay, in terms of actual impressions. But when you do your AdWords test, use the traditional AdWords. Don't use smart ads because then you can't dictate the specific keywords that you're going to be going for. But get that nice little list of keywords, right, that you're able to go ahead and advertise with, right? And you say, okay, well, again, if I know my top 5, this word right here, how are people coming in? Is there a better page, right? That instead of taking them to the home page, obviously, take them to another page. We can take them to another page. Great. Are they doing and accomplishing what they wanted to achieve, right? Are they seeing what they want to do? So again, look at your analytics in that. Are they bouncing back from that page? What pages are they going to after that specific page? They're giving you information to go ahead and use, right? So go ahead and when we talk about user experience with this stuff, you want to make sure that you're doing that, right? Identify those things. Again, you don't have to do everything, but start with the stuff that's going to add the greatest value to your business. Mobile, we've already talked about it. I thought most of this stuff, if you log any like which account is that? I think it's your Google Search Console again. It'll tell you when your site started to be reviewed only through mobile. Remember how it used to be desktop versus your mobile device versus all that stuff. It's not anymore. The framework that Google looks at rankings and things like that is through mobile first. And usually, if it's the first time you've logged on, there's like a little pop over at the bottom that says, "Hey, this site was looking using the mobile algorithm as of August 2021 or something." Okay. Either way, design around mobile, no matter what. Make sure the experience is good. Test the speed on mobile, right? We want to make sure we're doing that. Wider SEO trends. Voice is becoming pretty important. Alexa, what do you think about Google?
Google's a search engine, but I'm different.
What do you Alexa, what do you think about Apple?
Companies that begin with an A are awesome.
They're becoming all knowing, all powerful, right? So we need to be thinking about that. I can add almost anything I want just by using a device like that or your mobile device, right? Featured snippets and microdata. Seriously, Google. You're requiring us to go do this technical stuff, right? In terms of snippets and microdata in order to make sure that the search engines find the stuff. I just find it absolutely fascinating that we're still having to do this stuff. Um, gosh, if you need help doing that, you could do a search for featured snippets. It's not incredibly hard to do. It's a pain in the butt to be able to do, especially if you have a ton of different locations. But again, that's why you would probably hire an agency to go ahead and do that, at least at a one-shot stop, in order to get your site structured properly and things like that. Non-textual content. As we move next year, seeing internet saturated blogs and landing pages becoming increasingly difficult to rank for noteworthy keywords. Again, it all comes back to keywords and content, right? I can't believe we're back to infographics again. Make your crap interesting, right? That's really what infographics are a way to do that. With video and things like that, you can go ahead and make something interesting, right? Number 4, user experience SEO. Using metadata and titles have long gone, because Google's actually figuring a lot of that stuff out already. You need to be optimizing user experience. And part of what you do with that is stories, right? We're developing a new kind of a division of Doc29 called the content content engagement lab. And basically, you need to tell stories no matter what, right? So if you make things interesting and there's value there, people will engage with it, right? So yeah, it says in here, Google introduces more than 3,600 small changes to their algorithms each year. Look, again, if you start out with the right person in mind that you want to convert or basically have a conversation with, right? You identify what his or her top interest elements are. We'll call them keywords or keyword concepts, right? That gives us our starting point, right? To be able to go ahead and identify what content is there that best answers their question, right? Let's assume every search query is a question. And then convert on that, because we've thought about our goals and the expectations, and we're continually improving that. So yes, there's things like H1 header tags and all that crazy stuff that needs to be there. But if you design with the guest in mind, create interesting content that answers their question, and then just continually be optimizing that experience, looking at page speed and all that's important, but improving that relationship and that experience, both pre-funnel and even post-funnel. A lot of companies are missing out. Okay, we had a prospect discussion the other day. It's more of a directory. It's It's a B2B kind of manufacturing company. But anyway, their site was okay. Speed was kind of an issue, but they were engaging people coming into the funnel in various aspects, but they were doing nothing on that second portion, right? Where you say, okay, well, these are our customers, and we never talked to them. Never talked to them. So it's like, what? Never do what? How large is your database? So, we have to be thinking about that stuff. We have a B2C company that we'll be engaging with too. The exact same thing. They acquired the brand a couple years ago, had a stellar amount of traffic, and basically things have been sliding for a very long period of time. They really need some help in terms of understanding why people aren't buying. And then basically once these customers order, because basically they're ordering pretty much every 30 to 60 days, because it's one of those type of product. We want to make sure that we're communicating with them on a regular basis, and then identifying and kind of stopping bleeding, right? Customer retention is really, really important. So again, as we have the 2021 kind of hitting here, there's a lot of opportunity for you and your business. If you need any help at all, please feel free to reach out to us. Be glad to be able to do a complimentary review with you, look it over your analytics, try to identify a couple things in 2021 that could really work for your business. If I've missed anything, if you want to add any comments or discussions, please feel free to do that. Love to get feedback. And remember to like the channel. All right, take care. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.